is the role of affirmation in creative life, creative thinking? Affirmation is a way of saying this is the matter, this is what it is. So stories are forms of affirming something. This happened and that happened and that happened. And storytelling is a form of affirming. But affirmation, again, for me, there also has to be a substantiation, a reason to affirm, to tell that story. So why is that story relevant is always the question in the back of the story. Why is this important? Why? Where does it lead to? What is the relevance? So it's not just affirming, because then you get dictatorial behavior. You know, people say this is how it is, and you want to say why and how and why is that important. So the affirmation, like the association, comes also with a burden, not a burden. It's the way to make it communicable, to make it possible to talk about it, and not just throw it at people who silently have to absorb it. Stories are not for passivity, they are for activation and not for passive absorption. That's why there is this other side to it.
The fourth pillar of creativity is affirmation. And I always think in a kind of contrary, so it maybe sounds something critical, but I always think in what is the other side, and why creativity is so unusual. And the other side in affirmation is critical thinking. And my critique is in fact that we don't think positive enough, because creativity is in fact positive thinking. Let me explain that. Critical thinking is at every moment doing a step back, not to get involved. Positive thinking, affirmative thinking, is every time stepping with the process, with the energy, with the stream, with the light, how it occurs, getting into it. Not thinking, doing a step back. Am I right or am I wrong? No, you're wrong, you're right, you're right, you're right, you're right. And in the end, something will occur. So affirmative thinking is trusting yourself, is relying on yourself, is relying on the creative energy that brings you somewhere. Although, again, you don't know where.
Affirmation is for me one of the main points, in fact, of the art-based learning and the creative thinking way of doing. Because it entails one thing that for me is fundamental in every process, but especially in the process of learning, which is the agency. Affirmation is a way to work with narrative in an independent way. So working in an affirmative way gives back an active role, again, the role of the activist role, to the learner, who is normally perceived as a sort of passive receiver of knowledge and information. Well, if we work in an affirmative way, we give the learner the possibility of building his or her own narrative towards his or her better future.